Today, we're going to check out Air Japan, the newest airline in the country entering the low-cost carrier game. Flights only commenced a few months ago in February 2024, providing service to a handful of destinations around Asia. So we'll take our first peek into this low-cost carrier and see how things are done on their end. We begin at Air Japan's hub, Tokyo Narita Airport.
Good morning and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to Narita Airport. Shortly we'll head inside and start to make our way to Seoul. Now last year I flew with Air Seoul, the budget airline based out of Korea. Today we'll be flying with Air Japan, the newest budget airline based out of this country. And I actually don't know too much about this airline simply because it's so new. It only started operating in February of 2024, only a couple months ago. So today will be our first look inside this airline on this very popular Tokyo-Seoul line. Of course, we'll check out the food and I'll go over the pricing scheme and all that. And we'll see if this is an airline to consider if you're going to be doing some flying in Asia. The flight is set to depart at 9:55, so come along and let's enjoy Air Japan as we go from A to B.
The Tokyo-Seoul line connects two of the largest airport systems in the world. So as a consumer, we have many options to choose from when flying between or connecting via these two cities. The route is populated with many budget, regional, and full-service airlines, so any newcomer to the game must bring something special for them to succeed in this competitive market. So what separates Air Japan from its competitors? Well, I'm not quite sure yet. Air Japan utilizes a small baggage drop-off area and check-in counter on opposite sides of the same island and conveniently near security. Carry-on allowance is 7 kilos, and as is tradition, it's time for the weigh-in. Perfect, with a kilo to spare. At no time throughout this trip was my carry-on baggage weighed. My boarding pass was emailed to me on my way to the airport, so the whole check-in process was as easy as it got, as there was nothing to do. With the extra time saved at check-in, I decided to head up to the observation deck. If you have time and the weather's nice, would strongly recommend. Far too many airports simply don't have something like this. Today we're departing from gate 58A, which is about the farthest gate you can get from the passport control. The gate kind of sits by itself at the end of the terminal, a few hundred meters from the rest of the building. So make sure to refill your water bottle and buy whatever you need before making the long trek, else it's a good 30-minute round trip from the gate. At least there's a few vending machines, which came in particularly handy this day. And here's our Dreamliner in the freshly painted livery. We managed to board on time, and quite efficiently I might add, to the extent that boarding was all completed 10 minutes before our scheduled departure time. Today we're seated in 36K in the rear of the plane, and we can see the other Air Japan aircraft which would be off to Bangkok, Thailand. Air Japan currently has 2 Dreamliners in their fleet with 324 seats and 6 lavatories. Like many budget carriers, seats towards the front of the plane and emergency rows offer more space in return for a higher seat fee. Our airplane is nearly 13 years old, being delivered to ANA in September 2011. Both Air Japan planes are ANA aircraft, the parent company, and thus retain the ANA registration number. It'll take about 2.5 hours to reach the Korean capital. The single cabin is laid out in a 3-3-3 seating configuration with LED lighting and dark gray seats. The airline's color profile with the LED lighting worked well. Without the mid-cabin bulkheads and galleys, the aircraft had a notably open feel to it, something I didn't expect for a low-cost carrier. The row behind us, 37, is the only row that lacks window seats. Seats 40 and 41A or K would be my go-to next time, as there's 2 seats by the window due to the tapering design of the aircraft, and you get a bit more space by the window. The seats are grey with a peach trim. They were comfortable, if only a bit firm for being so new. The headrest is adjustable, though requiring some elbow grease to get it to the Goldilocks zone. I thought the seat back is really well done for a budget airline. At the top is a literature pocket containing the Wi-Fi connection guide and safety card. Off to the side is a coat hook. Above there's a USB-A and C charging point, device mount, and light and call buttons. Below is the table, which has a handy cup holder which folds out. And then we have a standard pocket. Air Japan provides 32 inches of seat pitch, which in the budget carrier game is outstanding. Without an IFE box and seat bracket, the leg space is quite roomy. Do note there is no standard power outlet on board. And above you have access to the air control. Overall, I was pleased with the seat and space provided. I was expecting a tighter configuration with a more LCC type setup and would have no problem in the seat for a longer mid to long haul flight. Air Japan provides Wi-Fi on their flights. There are 2 Wi-Fis to connect to on the plane. One is for the IFE and the other is for the internet, so presumably you can't use both simultaneously. In any case, prices start at $6.95 American for 30 minutes, which I think is on the pricey side, but the other plans appear more reasonable. I didn't bother with the internet for such a short flight. And of course, I take a moment to welcome new viewers to the channel and invite you to subscribe for continued travel and aviation related content. The meal service started shortly after takeoff. The menu consists of meals, small snacks, drinks, the usual suspects. Items can be ordered from your phone, and this was the first time I came across this feature on an airline, which I thought was clever. Additional items can only be ordered online during the time of booking, which is what I did. So, lunch for today is, here we go, 3, 2, 1, sushi. Looks lovely, doesn't it? The sushi came with a bit of ginger and soy sauce. As you can imagine, the flavors were very fresh and light. Which is your favorite? The salmon nigiri was mine, but the scallop deserves honorable mention too. Fully content, it's time to sit back and enjoy the flight. The Inflight entertainment system is streamed to devices. The system has a very smooth and intuitive design. In addition to the buy onboard menu, there's a moving map and some TV shows and movies. The entertainment section is quite limited, and perhaps this is because the airline is so new, so would recommend to bring your own media for longer flights such as to Thailand. And here's a look at the rear lavatory. And yeah, it's your standard Dreamliner washroom. Currently in May 2024, Air Japan flies to 3 destinations, Seoul, Bangkok, and Singapore, using their 2 Dreamliners. The Air Japan company has been around since 1990 in one form or another, though the company has been rebranded as the low-cost carrier we see today. Their main competitor is Zip Air, Japan Airlines' low-cost carrier, which is well established, having a larger fleet and network. The booking process was straightforward, though I found the website a bit primitive. After selecting the flight, extras such as seats and baggage can be selected. You can also opt for one of the meals, which must be pre-ordered. The selection of meals depends on the route. One note of caution is that once you get to the payment page, nothing can be altered, and any changes require you to start from the beginning, which I found out the hard way. You know, I've enjoyed Air Japan, and I hope you did too. It goes to show you that having a reasonable seat and experience on a budget carrier doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. Everything from the check-in to the boarding to the flight was well done, and I would feel comfortable flying them on a longer flight. The total price came out to 25,610 yen. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed a look into this new low-cost carrier. Let me know your thoughts on the flight, meal, and service, and I'll catch you in the next episode where we'll look at another budget airline based out of Korea.
The local time in Seoul is 12 p.m. April 29. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the captain turns off the seatbelt sign.